Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and another card making video. This is Tuesday and it's a brand new month, so that means it's time for a brand new Stamp Set of the Month series. This month I gave you a teaser. I am using products from a company that I have never used before. So I've never stamped with these before and I've never used their dies, but I've always had my eye on them. So this month I will be featuring some products from Sunny Studio. And the stamp set that I am going to feature is a tiny stamp set. It is called Feeling Froggy. And this is it right here. Isn't it adorable? Look how cute that frog is. So my daughter is really into frogs right now. So this caught my eye. I got a bunch of other stuff. I'm gonna show you my haul from Sunny Studio first, and then we'll jump into the cards. I'm gonna be doing some scene building on some Mini Slimline cards. So they have stamps in their product line that are perfect for this size of card and scene building. Also, there is a giveaway, which I will explain as I'm going through my haul. So make sure you stay tuned. And of course, comments. I love to hear from you guys and know what you think. So leave me some comments below. And if you like this video, you like Sunny Studio, give me a thumbs up. So I know, because I like trying different things and I want to know what you think about it too. All right, so let's look at my Sunny Studio haul. First up is the stamp set of the month, Feeling Froggy. This stamp set has all my requirements for stamp set of the month. It's got cute images, supporting images, coordinating sentiments, and of course a die set to go with. I love it. Now I keep my stamps stored in the plastic sleeve they come in, and sometimes the bag rips on the side, so I just use some clear tape and tape around that, and then it's good to go. Next up we have the Sunny Studio Snail Mail mini stamp set. Isn't this one cute? And then we've got some scene building sets. This is the Country Scenes set. There are dies that go with that you use to cut the top of it. So you're going to stamp this on about a 5.5 inch panel and just cut off the top. So you can have as much room at the bottom as you want on these. So I will be using this in today's cards, and the first three things I've just shown you are all from a brand new release that Sunny Studios just put out. Now I also have the Spring Scenes stamp and die set. Has the same idea where you cut the top, and then it's also got several other supporting images in there. Then you can't have one frog without the other frogs, so this is the Froggy Friends stamp set. Loving those cute frogs and all the fun sentiments that are in it. And then also from the new release we have Balloon Rides. I love this for the sun, the clouds, the cute little banners, the sentiments. The little critters peeking out of the basket. You know I love those kind of things. Next we have a border scene building set. This is Woodland Borders. So I did not have this yet on a magnet, so I thought I would show you what I use. I'm first going to measure that white space on my piece of cardboard, and then I use these magnetic vent covers. I can cut them with my guillotine trimmer and cut them right to the size that I need. So I cut that, I think it was right around 3 by 6 inches for this, and then I use double stick tape to attach that to my cardboard. I also cut off about a 1/2 inch off the top of my bag so I can easily grab that cardboard and pull it in and out of the bag. Next up we have some Slimline dies. This is the Slimline Pennants on the left and the Slimline Basic Borders on the right. But you see there I accidentally bought 2 of the Pennants. So that is going to be my giveaway this month. If you comment on every episode of this series, then you'll be entered to win this die set, and I will send it to you. It's a $30 die set, so make sure you watch all the episodes this month, all 4 of them, and you'll be entered to win. So I am going to use those basic slimline borders to die cut this teeny tiny scallop across the bottom of this panel. This is going to be a layer that I put my card front on, and I wasn't exactly sure what size it was going to be yet, so I will end up trimming this down from what it is right now, and in the end it will end up measuring 5 3/4 by 2 3/4. I'm using some Dewdrop ink from Alt New to add a little bit of color to this white panel that will become my card front base because I will have some layers that go on top of this when I do my scene building. So I'm just using a makeup style blending brush and putting this only at the top because that's all that's going to show, and this color seemed to match everything that I was using between my cardstock and my Copics really well. So here is that Country Scenes stamp set. I need a little pond for my frog, and that's exactly what this stamp right here creates. And this is a 2.5 by 5.5, there it is, panel. And I also want to use the mountains. I wanted to make a country or mountain scene. So I am going to use my Misty for this, and I have the pond in there first. I'm going to do a separate panel for my pond and a separate panel for my mountains. So you'll see how that works out in just a minute. So I'm inking this up with Copic friendly ink and stamping it onto some white cardstock. And then I will have a little pond for my frog to live in. I love it. I love the cattails. We have them here growing along a ditch bank in my neighborhood, and I love to see them. They're just so velvety and cute. So now I used that same stamp with the pond to figure out where I wanted to line up my mountains. So that's why that's there, and then I'm going to clean that off, and then I can use the door of my Misty to go ahead and pick up that mountain stamp set, just like that. And then I'll ink that and stamp it on this separate panel. Again, this one is 5.5 by 2.5. So these are made for A2 size cards, but a slimline card, if you have a border behind your card front, you can have this stamped panel be 5.5 inches wide. So it actually is quite perfect. I'm going to use the dies to cut these out, and you can see here, you just line it up with the top of the design, and then you go ahead and cut it out. And you can also make this narrower if you wanted your card to be the 4-inch size for an A2 size card that is vertical. So there you go. And then same for this die that cuts out the pond, just cut off the top. And you can see how you could make that pond bigger by moving your stamp up the paper and having more white space below the stamped image. Now I will stamp out all the cute things from the stamp set, the flies, the frog, and the dragonfly from Feeling Froggy, and again using Copic friendly ink. And I just used the scrap piece left over from cutting out my cattails and pond to stamp them on. So next we will do some coloring. Oh, I had a little something stuck to my stamp, so I did have to double stamp that to fill in that gap. Thank you very much, Misty, for being my friend. All right, so for my frog, I am starting with YG11 as my lightest color, and then bringing in YG17. I wanted this frog to be a really light color. I do have all the markers on the screen so you can see them if you have any of these color combinations that you would like to replicate, try out. Yes. All right, so G29 is the darkest color I'm using on my lily pad, and then G28 to blend that out. And I feel like I wanted a little bit more of a shadow, so I just brought in that G29 again, and it did the trick. I'm speckling up his tummy with that lightest color to finish off my frog. For the pond, I have BG53 as my darkest color, BG11 to blend that out, and BG10 for my lightest. And there's my pond. I'm going to go ahead and color out the greenery around the cattails with my same green color combination, YG17 and YG11. And then I played around with some browns for the cattail tops themselves. So I have E39, which I felt was a little bit dark for the stem. I wanted something more tan, I think, but I went with it. And then I have that E39 also I'm using for the dirt part of this pond, and E15. I haven't played with these browns too much, and I really like the kind of golden undertone that they have. I'm using the same colors on my trees that I used on the lily pad, and I'm just alternating between the two. So I do have a little bit of variation in the greens, and I felt like that just helps it give a little bit more realism. And then I'll color the grass around those trees because I wanted it to be summertime in the mountains, because it reminds me of going camping with my family. We love going up into the mountains here near Idaho and exploring and RVing. I should say RVing and not camping, because some people are pretty offended when I say I'm going camping and then we leave in our camp trailer. So we go RVing and explore Idaho and love the mountains. There's all the things colored, and you can see the markers I used right there on the screen. And then I'm going to go ahead and die cut out my little frog and dragonfly and flies. There is a die for every single one of these cute images. I'm going to glue my mountain scene onto my sky scene, and then I'll add the pond right on top of that. So it's just 3 layers. So long as your panels have started out as the same size, it's pretty easy to do. I did have to touch up some of the marker coloring on the side as far as the green and brown goes, and that ended up being perfect. All right, little Froggy is going on his pond with some foam squares, and then I'll add a sentiment that says, "I'm so happy for you," and it looked really good over there on the right-hand side of the card, so that's where I stamped it. I added my dragonfly with some more foam squares, and then I'll just glue those little flies right around my sentiment. They're so cute, so tiny, and there's a die for them, and it wasn't even hard to line up the die, so I was impressed with that. Now it's time to go ahead and put this card together. So I'm going to glue my card front onto that layered piece that has the cute scallop border at the bottom. And then that will be glued onto my card base, which is a typical slimline card that measures 6 by 6, scored at 3 inches. Now to accent this card, I'm adding some gloss and putting it on each of the flies and the wings of the dragonfly, and then the frog's eyes, which is my favorite part. And he's just happy as can be living in the mountains, and he has his little friends around him. I love it. So I added some white gel pen at the very end because somehow I forgot it before then, which is weird for me, but yeah, it just helped add some highlights to all the images, and I love how that looks. I even put a little dot on each layer of each tree like a crazy person. Yeah, that's me. So that finishes off card number 1. For card number 2, I'm making a very similar card, but this time I'm going to have it be more of a park-like setting. So I'm using a different border. This one's more like a zigzag, and but it's not too pointy. I love that, and it's so tiny. I love the tiny borders. I'm doing the same exact sky background using that Dewdrops ink once more, and then I will stamp out my pond as I did the first time. And this time I really wanted to use the spring scenes stamp set, but you'll see here it wasn't going to work. Nope, that tree and lamp is too tall for this card, so I will use it on another card, and instead I brought in the trees from this woodland scene set, so the same set as the pond, and I am using the same technique I did before to line up the trees with the pond. Now when I go to die cut this out, I must have kind of like stretched the stamp because the die wasn't lining up on both ends of the cattails. So what I decided to do is line it up with the cattails on the left end, and I'm going to partially die cut this. So I'm going to show you how I did that. I'm going to put the plate on top so it only goes halfway. That way it cannot cut the second half of this die. Then I will take the die off and reposition it, trying to keep the center lined up with what I already cut. The center of the die lined up with that cut line. And now you'll see here, it worked out really good. I mean, I guess it could have gone wrong, but it wasn't that hard. I just had a tiny sliver of paper that I had to trim off, and it was perfect. So now let's talk about the coloring for this card. I wanted to do the frog a little bit different, so I actually brought in G14, which is the one marker I changed up from the previous card, and that gave me a look of a darker frog, which I kind of liked. I polka dotted his tummy and then colored over it with that YG11. Now for the grass around the trees, I try to do a little bit of an ombre effect. So the farthest away piece of grass, section of grass, is going to be the darkest section, and then the middle section will just be a little less dark, and then the one closest will be the lightest. And I am only using the G14 and YG11. So that new green I brought in that I didn't use on the first card, YG14, is my darkest. And then using my YG11 to add a couple layers of that color on that middle section to make it a little bit darker. Now there's two different kinds of trees in this background. There's these trees that have rounded edges, and there's trees that have kind of a scalloped or puffy look. So on the puffy trees, I thought it would be fun to take my R32 and just dot in some color, and that would give it the look maybe of those trees that are blooming in the spring with flowers and make me want to sneeze. Those trees, yeah. So now I am coloring my pond a little bit different this time. The top of the where the cattails are sitting, I colored green so it would look like grass. I like that much better, and that is perfect for a park-like setting. And then I colored my blues in from the side, and I really like the look of that. Also, the little white that the die cut left above the pond, I added some green to, so it would look kind of grassy. And so I really liked this pond image better than the first. And then I'll just glue all the pieces together just as I did on the first card, layering them up. And then this cute sentiment, I find you riveting. So cute. So I stuck the dragonfly on. I actually ended up moving it higher. And now to stick my frog on, this time I'm using an action wobbler to adhere him. So when you kind of touch or flick the frog, it will wobble. And I think that's so fun. So I'll peel off the backing and add my frog right to that. And it's sticky, so you just press it on there. It works really good. He's adorable. And then we just layer all those up and onto the card to finish it off. But once again, I did bring in my glaze and add that to all of the images. The flies, both of them, the wings of the dragonfly, and the eyes. I think it's so cute on the frog's eyes. So there we are, my two cards, my very first cards with Sunny Studios stamps and dies featuring Feeling Froggy. Such a cute stamp set. Now I wanted to make an envelope to put my cards in, so I'm bringing in the Mini Slimline envelope die set from Trinity Stamps. I'm going to cut this largest piece from this pine cone paper, and then for the side pieces, I need to cut 2 of those. Then I'm going to fold on all the scored lines that the die creates for me and add some double stick tape along that long tab on both pieces, and that will help me adhere them to the base. Now for the base, I'm going to fold the top and the bottom flaps to give me a reference point for attaching the sides. I'm going to also use some liquid glue so I have a little bit of time, a wiggle room, which I did need, as you'll see. I didn't put that far enough towards the top, so I had to remove it. Then when I stuck it down the second time, I actually got it a little bit off the side, so I had to wiggle it again. And now I'm attaching the second side, and you can see this envelope goes together so easy. I'm going to go ahead and use double stick tape and glue again to attach those 2 pieces right there in the middle. And it's just, I don't know, it helps me feel like it's not going to come apart. Plus I get the wiggle room, so I love using these 2 adhesives together. So I attach those, and then all I need to do is fold up the bottom, and that will finish off this mini slimline envelope. I think the pine cones are kind of fun for my mountain scene card, right? And look how nicely it slides in there. Perfect. There you go. So that finishes up episode 1 of my February stamp set of the month series featuring Feeling Froggy from Sunny Studios. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think of these cards and these stamps. I will be back again next Tuesday with another episode featuring this stamp set. So make sure you tune in and leave a comment below on each video this month for a chance to win that Slimline banner die set. Thank you so much for watching, and happy stamping. Bye.